Hello, my name is Patricia and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be walking you through on how to apply for student visa. I'll be giving you step-by-step guide on what you must do, what documents to put in place and how to prepare. Stay tuned and watch till the end. Basically, if you're thinking of coming to UK this year to study, then this video is for you. Just want to mention that immigration is actually a very complex area of law and it keeps changing. So before you apply, make sure that you check to see what is in place. If unsure, seek advice, contact a solicitor to seek advice on what is in place because the rule changes quite often. Right. I've broken this video into 4 key parts. The first part, part 1, we'll be looking at eligibility criteria. What are the criteria? What must you do to meet the criteria to be able to apply for student visa? The second part of the video will be looking at what documentary evidence that you need to actually have or submit when you do make your application. Then part 3 of it will be looking at how to actually make this application, and then part 4 will look at what happens after you make your application. The part 1 of this video will be looking at the eligibility criteria to actually apply for student visa. Let's just dive into it. In terms of applying for student visa to come to UK, you need to meet certain eligibility criteria, and of course starting point will be for you making an application. You need to apply to universities or college that is doing the course you want to study, and you must have an admission. So you must get an offer of admission and the university must be in the approved list. Say for example, you get an admission. Once you get an admission, the university or the college would actually issue you with something called confirmation of acceptance of studies, and in short form is called CAS. Now once you have your CAS, you are required to apply for student visa within 6 months of getting your CAS. So you're issued with CAS, then you must make your application within that 6 months. All that criteria is the English language requirement. You must prove your English language, so you must show that you can speak and write English, and the ways of demonstrating that is you can do this through an approved centers, and the list of those approved centers you can find them on gov.uk website. Now if you're doing level like a degree course and above level, then you're required to pass at SAFER B2. If it's below a degree course, then it's SAFER B1. Now do note that not all nationals are required to do this test. There are some countries that are exempted. They are known as English speaking countries. So for full list of those countries, you can also find them on gov.uk website. Now if you already have a degree abroad, either taught in English, then you can get confirmation from ethics, and it's spelled ECCTIS. It used to be formerly known as NARIC. They do charge a fees for this confirmation. They charge £140, and they also charge additional £7.50 for you to get the e-document, the downloadable e-document. That's it. And then the key one is financial requirement. You need to show that you have sufficient funds to be able to pay for your fee for 1 year, and then you need to also show that you can afford or you have funds to cover your living costs. Now in terms of how much you pay or how much you're expected to have, rather, it depends on where your university is. Now if your university is in London, then you're expected to have £1,483, that equivalent of 9 months. So 1,483 per month, and you need to have equivalent of that amount for 9 months. So it'll be 1,483 times by 9. And then if your university is outside London, it's £1,136. The same thing applies. Do know that if you're already in UK, or if you're already in UK and you have a visa up to 12 months, then this requirement does not apply to you. You're also expected to have this money for 28 days. The 28 days period ends within 31 days of you actually making the application. Welcome back to part 2 of this video. For this part, we'll be looking at the documentary evidence that will be needed for you to actually make your application. I'll be going through the documentary evidence. In the previous video, we talked about the requirement, the criteria that you need to meet. And one of the things that I also didn't mention is that the requirement for you to actually do or test for tuberculosis, you are required to do a tuberculosis test. Now, before you do, check whether your countries are among those that are required to do this test, and if you are, then do the test. Now, coming back to the documents that you need to submit, you must submit your passport. Passport is one of them, your passport, original passport. The second one is your tuberculosis test certificate. So once you've done the test, they will issue you a certificate, pass certificate. You need that. And the third one is, of course, evidence of your financial circumstances. This will be bank statements, so you need to submit evidence of those funds to show that you have sufficient funds to pay for your fees and your living costs. So that evidence will be needed. Then your qualifications, educational qualification relevant to your studies, you need to submit that. And also the English language test, like I mentioned before, if you had to do the test through the approved center, you'll be required to include the test certificate, or if you had your degree confirmed by ethics, then you need to provide those evidence when making your application. Once you've gathered all this documentary evidence together, this next stage will be then to make your application. Hello, welcome back to part 3 of this guide, on step-by-step guide on how to apply for student visa. Now, in the last video, we talked about the documentary evidence that you need to put in place inside and apply. When you click apply, fill in the online form as accurately as possible. Once you've done, you'll be required to pay the required fees. Currently, it's £524 for your student visa fee, and also, of course, there's immigration health surcharge, which is currently £776. Once you've done all this, submit your application. You usually get a decision, I think, within 3 weeks. If you're successful, you will get an e-visa. You will get an online record of your immigration status, and you must have an account, a UKBI account, to be able to access that. And then you prepare for your arrival in UK. Now, what happens after you arrive in UK, the conditions? I'm just going to quickly go through them. Condition 1 is that if you're doing a degree course or above, you're allowed to, in terms of work up to 20 hours per week during term time. So 20 hours work you're allowed to do. But however, during holidays, you can do full-time hours, so unlimited as much as you want. If your course is below the degree level, then you're allowed to do 10 hours per week during term time, and during the holidays, of course, full-time hours. Now, in terms of public funds, you find out your student visa is likely to have restriction on public funds. So they will restrict you from having access to public fund. It's called recourse to public fund. What does that mean? It means that you cannot receive certain benefits or local authority housing assistance. So I have done a video on what benefits are regarded as public funds. So if you want to know more about it, click on the previous videos to watch about which benefits falls under no recourse to public fund and which doesn't fall under no recourse to public funds. Just to mention that this video that I've done applies to those applying that is age 18 and over. Now, if you like the information, if you like this video and want to always have content like this, please consider subscribing to my channel, like and share for more. If you also need help with applying for student visa and you need someone to hold your hand in doing this, I can actually be of help. I'm an immigration practitioner, I'm a solicitor, and also cover immigration law, and I'll be able to help you to navigate through the application process and guide you. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.